What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video, we're going to do a little deep dive into a few Pokemon that got an update with a move that we have never used in the past, and they instantly became either top meta on PvPoke rankings, or they are pushing into the meta, which is very exciting and refreshing, and that is going to be our Mud Slap users. What we're looking at here, we're going to start off by comparing the moves. This is going to be the current season. Let me adjust this for you guys. This is the current season, which you guys can check at the top. If you guys are at home, you guys will see this banner at the top as well. You can swap between the current season and next season. You can swap back and forth. You'll see green and purple respectively. So, Mud Slap got a buff. As we can see, its damage in the current season is 11 damage and 9 energy, giving us energy per turn and damage per turn right here. If we take a look at the new season, it's now 12 and 10, which doesn't seem like much, right? It's a +1 on each side, but that actually makes up for a lot of ground, ironically, for these Pokemon. So, if we take a look at a comparison, because you guys obviously, this may not mean anything to you, right? You're like, cool, it's 4 damage per turn and 3.33, repeating of course, energy per turn. Yes, I do play World of Warcraft, and I have been playing War Within, Ret Paladin, beautiful. Anyways, it doesn't seem like much, right? But what you can do is compare it to other moves that you are very accustomed to, so you can start to understand, oh, that's what it's going to be like. What you can do is swap by energy per turn, again 3.33, so we go ahead and scroll down and we'll find Mud Slap right here. Now the only direct comparison is Astonish, which got an update as well, and you guys haven't used Astonish, but you guys know Ice Shard on Dugong. Ice Shard on Dugong is 3.33, but it's only 9 damage, whereas Mud Slap is 12. Significantly more damage, 25% right there. So it's a better version of Ice Shard, right? So now we get to compare it to Pokemon that have it. And what you guys can do is, this is the current or the next season, right? You guys can filter by @Mud Slap, and what you'll see is the top Pokemon that are going to be using this, and there are 3 that I really want to talk about today. And that is going to be Gastrodon, Shadow or Kanto Marowak, both Shadow and Normal, and Golurk. These are going to be very cool. Gastrodon pushed its way into the top 5. This is a new Mud Boy, which has always been there. And the reason being is it has a very high stat product. Not as high as some of the other Pokemon, but it is up there. It has Body Slam, it has Earth Power, and it has Water Pulse. And the reason why it's never been anywhere near the meta and no one's really used it outside of Specialty Cups is because look at its fast moveset. It was Mud Slap and Hidden Powers. Those have been terrible. Mud Slap now is not garbage, right? It's not amazing, but it's good enough to allow Gastrodon to come up. So what we have is a very tanky Mud Boy. I believe, let's see, 1958. If we look at Whiscash here, let's just do this. Whiscash is going to be 2061. So it's relatively close to Whiscash's bulk, so you guys can get an understanding there. High stamina, and then the Gastrodon is going to be relatively high stamina as well. So it's around Whiscash's range. But what it has is that Body Slam. Now, Body Slam has been nerfed, right? But it's still great as neutral damage. You have the Earth Power, which is really nice. And what's great is this meta this season is going to have very strong poison-type Pokemon along with fairies. I think we're going to see a lot of that, right? So Clodsire, Drapion, and then the Clefable and Wigglytuff, I think, are going to be clashing at it a bit this season. And as you can see, the matchups, it does well against Clodsire, Dunsparce, Chargebug, Azumarill, and Feraligatr, all top picks in the meta. You have to watch out for some of these other Pokemon, right? Like Jumpluff is going to be a big threat to a Gastrodon because you're doing massive resisted damage, right? Grass flying versus ground, and then you're taking double super effective against the Energy Ball there. So it's bad news bears if you face off against Jumpluff. But some of these other matchups you can still do decent against, right? A Talonflame's still going to take a good amount of damage from Body Slam. If we take a look at that right here. Talonflame, you're gonna lose. I'm not saying you're winning this matchup. We're looking at chip damage, what you can do. Body Slam's 25% and Earth Power's 33%. So still a decent chunk that you can do. And Mud Slaps are gonna be hitting for 6. So, I mean, Talonflame's not the bulkiest Pokemon out there, but you can still, it's not impossible, right? It's not this Jumpluff matchup, which is just ridiculous. I mean, look at, that's about it. That's almost like the Shadow Victory Bell versus a Shadow Swampert kind of matchup, right? You just get, there's no hope and prayer. Body Slam's doing 16%, and Earth Power's doing 8. Like, it's bad. But Gastrodon is a Mudboy. Now, if you guys have seen my top 10 Pokemon that I'm looking at for the new season, actually, I didn't put Gastrodon into that. And the reason being is I feel like there's going to be, I mean, it's going to be great against what it's supposed to be, right? It's going to delete Clodsires, which Clodsires might be a great safe swap or a lead on some teams, so you might be able to catch that with a Gastrodon. But I feel like, I mean, it doesn't make my top 10, but it definitely would be within the next bracket of Pokemon I would add. Now, if we take a look at our other Mud Slap users, we have Kanto Marowak. This thing has never been used. I don't even think in the Kanto Cup we even used it. Trust me, there's been Home Slice Henry and Yonkis videos using the spicy Kanto Marowak. I'm sure that has been out there over the years for how many Kanto Cups we have had. But now, Kanto or Shadow Kanto Marowak is number 15 on PvPoke for the new season. Again, subject to change because all the data has still yet to be finalized because some of these move updates are speculative. But what we have here is Mud Slap, Bone Club, which was massively updated, and Rock Slide. So the difference between the Gastrodon and the Marowak is Gastrodon now has that flying pressure, which, or Marowak has the flying pressure that Gastrodon does not. So if we look at the Talonflame matchup, you now have an opportunity to do 96%. This is after the Rock Slide nerf. 96%. If you add in the couple mud slaps you might be doing, it's a one-shot. There is pressure, there is core breaking here to be had, right? You farm down a Clodsire, maybe you have 1.5 Rock Slides ready to go. That Talonflame in the back only has 1 shield. Guess what? Shadow Kanto Marowak is going to be deleting it with Rock Slide, which is why when I'm talking about Mud Slap users, Marowak is, in my opinion, goes above Gastrodon. I know Gastrodon is higher ranked, but I think Marowak has more utility in this meta. Because you cover the same things, right? You can beat Clodsire, Bastion, Charjabug, Dunsparce. You can even beat Shadow Machamp there. But now you can one-shot Talonflame. Now you can do a ton of damage to Mandibuzz. Let's take a look at this Jumpluff matchup. Remember, it was like, what was it, like 13% and 8%? Rock Slide here is doing 38. That's significantly higher pressure and chip damage that you can do as compared to Gastrodon. So if we're looking at Mud Slap users, like Kanto Shadow Marowak is looking pretty good and is very excited to use both Marowaks. I will be using both on one team. Just saying. I'm going to be having a safe swap Marowak or maybe a safe swap Kanto Marowak to try to draw Jumpluff or something. But that's Kanto Marowak. It looks great. This matchup against Shadow Machamp is actually pretty interesting. It beats it in all scenarios. That's likely just straight up due to the Mud Slap damage. It is shredding. And then Bone Club is 57%. Cross Chop is 46%. So that's not too bad. You're out damaging with Bone Club, 35 energy, Cross Chop, both the same energy, and you're doing more damage percentage-wise, which is really huge. And you can just straight up, even if you go 2 shields in, you just Mud Slap. See, this is what I'm talking about, right? If there's a Jumpluff, if there's a Talonflame on the back end of a Shadow Machamp, you just go double shield farm down, and you know you have 2 Rock Slides ready to go. This is that exact scenario I was talking about earlier. You throw 1 Rock Slide against the Talonflame, you do 1 more Mud Slap, and you throw the second Rock Slide, and it's game over. Shadow Kanto Marowak is I'm just going to say is worth it, right? Out the gate, it's going to be worth it. I've already invested. I'm doubling down on this thing because it looks really, really fun. Okay, Pokemon number 3 that we need to talk about is going to be Shadow Golurk here. Now, Shadow Golurk has always been really unique and very strong in specialty cups because of Mud Slap, or because of Shadow Punch and Dynamic Punch. Now with the Mud Slap update, it is pushing into the top 30 on PvPoke's rankings. It can beat exactly what we want it to beat, but it also beats the Talonflame. You would think the Kanto Marowak beats Talonflame with Rock Slide, but it's actually the Golurk that does here with Shadow Punch. Shadow Punch got an update where it does significantly more damage now for the same energy, so it's going to do 46%. Why is this running Brave Bird and Fly? Okay. Yeah, you still win. You lose the 2s. That would make sense. You lose the 2s because they just Flame Charge, right? That makes sense. But the Shadow Punch does a lot of damage, especially in the 1s right here, because you're just going to do enough to delete it, which is very cool. And the Mud Slaps start to add up. They're doing 9 damage because it is Fire Flying, right? But Golurk, I mean, these 3 Pokemon are going to be great. I think even though Gastrodon is number 5, it's just, it doesn't win my heart over because of Body Slam nerf. That's what's in my head. I have this like Body Slam was nerfed and this is number 5. Maybe I'll be corrected. Maybe I'll get destroyed by a Gastrodon. But what I can say is I'm very excited for both Marowak and Golurk for obvious reasons. Now, for Golurk against Jumpluff, this is going to be something significant. We know that the Marowak can do well, that 38% with the Rock Slide, whereas the Shadow Punch here is doing 29%. So you still lose pretty hard. Shadow Punch still does a decent amount of damage. You have no, I guess you could go Poltergeist. Let's see that right here. The Poltergeist lands at 79%. You could. All right, hear me out. Hear me out. We're getting spicy in the middle of the video here. Hear me out. You go Mud Slap, Shadow Punch, Poltergeist. You bait with Shadow Punch and land a Poltergeist here. Let's check the 1s. I mean, you're gonna get outpaced. They go double Shadow Punch. Even the 2-to-1 you lose. Yeah. Shadow Punch, Shadow Punch. You don't make it. No, you barely don't make it to the Poltergeist. If you make it to the Poltergeist, I think you win. Because look at how much damage that is. That's IVs dependent because there's only 1 health remaining, basically. Which is pretty significant. So, this could be a moveset, right? The Dynamic Punch is great for super effective damage against maybe Dunsparce, maybe Licky Licky, maybe that Bastiodon, but you're still doing great damage with Mud Slap in those situations. So maybe you go for Poltergeist. I think you got to go for Dynamic Punch. It's going to give you better coverage, just flat out. But Poltergeist could land. Be on the lookout for that. These are the Mud Slap users. Looking down a bit farther, we still have Donphan, which is going to be spicy. I know a lot of you guys really want Dugtrio, like the rise of Dugtrio to come up, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Let's take a look at Donphan real quick. Donphan before was its stat product was never really that great at 1776. So ideally, like, stat product is very telling about how glassy or tanky a Pokemon is, right? And Donphan, unfortunately, just didn't have enough high-end damage to make up for the low stat product. So it's kind of always been in the middle, but it did have a unique fast moveset, right? It had Charm, which, sorry, you guys can see. It had Charm, had Counter, and now it has Mud Slap as options, and its moveset is actually quite versatile. You have Trailblaze, Body Slam, Earthquake, Heavy Slam, and Play Rough. So this could definitely be a specialty cup Pokemon where with the update to Mud Slap, you could actually provide great coverage to whatever meta you're in because you still beat some of those top Pokemon. You still lose to some of the other top Pokemon, which seems to be a common trend, right? But you have the Trail Plays if there is a lot of Gastrodons and whatnot in the meta because, you know, Trailblaze going to hit like a truck. Let's see this matchup, actually. It's very close. Let's see here. Yeah, they win the 1s, and that's going to be with landing a Trailblaze but baiting a Body Slam. Oh, that's extremely close. You hit the Trailblaze with 1 HP. That's kind of rough. But overall, still really interesting. I think Mud Slap users are going to be really unique. Now, I know other leagues. Let's take a look at some other leagues. Let's go ahead and filter by @mudslap. Gastrodon XL making it number 29. And this is going to be one of those metas where it's going to be, I feel like Gastrodon's going to have a hard time up here. I could eat my words and it actually does pretty well. But I feel like it's going to have a hard time up here because there's so many Pokemon that can do well against it. Like Virizion, Cresselia, Talonflame, Golisopod, Giratina, Altered. Like that right there, you guys know is a part of the meta. Yes, it beats Cobalion and Skeledirge, but Cobalion and Skeledirge can still do well there with a lot of like Sacred Sword pressure or Shadow Ball disarming voice, right? You still have some great charge move pressure there, and it shows not being as dominant of a matchup. But the Mudslap will still handle the Cobalion if you have enough shields to be able to put it down, right? Golurk is 54, but Master League as well. If we look at Mudslap, I believe Rhyperior, yeah. Woo! You guys must be excited for my Rhyperior Master League mains. This is going to put in some work. Rhyperior XL, number 6, Mudslap, Breaking Swipe, and Rock Wrecker, among other moves. But these are going to be the 2 moves that you ideally go for your coverage and stab. You handle what you're supposed to, and you can still hit hard against other things like a Rock Wrecker. Even though you have Mudslap against a Dragonite, you have Breaking Swipe and Rock Wrecker, right? If we look at this matchup right here, Breaking Swipe's going to do 33%, Rock Wrecker's 87%. So that's all shielding scenarios. If you get a healthy farm down against a Dialga and you're able to throw the Rock Wrecker, that is going to be a good game. So Mudslap users, it has been a long time, much like the Aerial Ace. If you guys remember in years past, Aerial Ace was just terrible. It was always, I mean, King would always say it's the worst. It was the worst charge move in the entire game. And then it got an update, and it became one of the best flying type charge moves in the entire game. Now, I wouldn't say Mudslap is now the best ground fast. I guess it could be, because Mudshot did get nerfed. If we look here, Mudshot went from 4.5 energy per turn to, hold on, let me type in Mud, to 4. So it got a good drop down. So if we take a look at all the ground type moves, you're only going to have Sand Attack as well. Let's take a look at it here, actually, sorry. We go ground, energy per turn, Sand Attack and Mudshot. Actually, Sand Attack is just better because it's a 1-turn, I guess you still get 4 energy per turn. It's the same thing. But Mudslap is significantly more damage. So it depends on, you know, what you're looking to do. I think what this tells me is the meta needs another fast ground move, because a lot of other moves have multiple. So like fighting, look at how many fighting moves we got. I know Rock Smash is terrible, but you never want Rock Smash to be updated. Reason being is Registeel and Azumarill have it. So don't ever wish for Rock Smash to get updated, because you don't want that. You don't want Registeel and Azumarill to benefit from that. But look what we got, right? We got Karate Chop, Double Kick, Force Palm, Counter, and Low Kick. I know we don't use Low Kick a lot. Counter used to be the only thing ever used, but now we got these. And you guys know Double Kick. It's really solid. And Karate Chop, you guys are going to feel the full force of that. But what I'm getting at here is if we go Ghost, I guess there's only 4 here, and we really never used Astonish, Lick, Hex, and Shadow Claw. You guys have used that a lot, but hopefully Astonish gets some more love this season. Water. We have 5. We have 4. Never mind. We have 4. But we could use another ground type move. So that would be really interesting. We could use something that's more heavy hitting, kind of like a charm thing, or maybe something right in the middle, where it's like an 8 damage per turn. So I think there's room for ground type moves, which then you need to be on the lookout for other ground type Pokemon, much like our Mudslap users here. If a new move comes, I wouldn't be surprised in a later season that they get access to these. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Mudslap users. I think just to summarize, I think Gastrodon's gonna be solid, but it doesn't have my eye catching my eye right now because I love coverage. I love booms. Shadow Marowak. Shadow Kanto Marowak is catching my attention. This is the #1 Mud Slap user in my opinion. Because of the Bone Club update and the Rock Slide coverage, that is exactly what you need for this meta. Because look it, you cover all of this right here, and you have super effective damage to this or neutral. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm telling you guys, if you're gonna build one thing today, build yourself a Shadow Kanto Marowak. If you do not have that, or you missed TMing away frustration, still go for the normal Marowak because it's still going to do well. It's not going to do as well. Like, look at this matchup against Clodsire. 646 as compared to 900. It's not as good, but it still wins, right? There's still that opportunity. So I think building one, if not both, is going to be a good idea. Those are my thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know which Mud Slap user is your favorite between these three. We'll even put Dawn Fan in there. Doug Trio, I don't think Doug Trio is ever going to make it. Unless there's some crazy specialty cup where like Kangaskong is like coming up out of the meta, because it does have some interesting charge moves. But yeah, let me know. Gastrodon, Marowak, or Golurk, what team are you on? And I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. So like always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.